You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
All right, so before we get started, Taylor, we've got an update from, I believe it was what will be for listeners last week's episode, where you talked about T-ball.
Yes.
And that you're now a coach, you're a veteran coach of T-ball. And you were asking me about sports and stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'd have to ask my parents. So my mom got back to me, listens to our show, longtime listener, and this is her response. You did play T-ball and baseball. Soccer you played longer because you liked it the best. You also played hockey, curling, and bowling. So that's essentially, I think, what I said. Because hockey, curling, and bowling would have all been winter time. And then in the summer, I guess I did T-ball and baseball. But soccer, the reason why I remember it is because I did it longer.
Well, T-ball probably became softball, baseball.
Yeah. And I only did it for a couple of years, but I definitely did soccer for many years because I ended up doing the junior refereeing program. So once you got a little older, you could referee for the games for like the younger kids. I definitely remember doing that for at least 2 or 3 years because I did it once and then a couple friends from school joined me at least for the next year. So I remember doing that a few times too.
I feel like that's well-rounded. I have another update. I was thinking about this. Well, not an update, a comment. I was thinking about this while I was driving home from work today with our little Caesars in the trunk. We are so fortunate, Mike, that we have fans who've been with, well, our longtime listeners like your mom, but also just like new fans. The fact that our fans are interested in our opinions enough that we have enough questions to do mailbag episodes. Doesn't that blow your mind? I'm so grateful for our fans and that they're interested in our opinions and have been along with us for this journey.
I think I take it for granted now because it's been part of our show for so long. Like, I think one of the best decisions we made was right at the beginning. We said, hey, we'll open up for fan questions. And we made that
not even knowing
part of the fabric of the show.
And not even knowing if anyone was going to write in. Because, like, who were we to be slow. Like, ask us questions?
Yeah, it was slow, right? Like, it did take a while, but then...
to build momentum.
Yeah, but then we did, and I guess maybe... I mean, you're right. I think I probably just take it for granted of like, oh, yeah, of course, we got 3 or 4 questions a week that can fill an episode. Especially some of the questions I found recently that fans are asking are a little more involved. So... we only actually need maybe 4 or 5 questions to fill a whole episode.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And just the fact that people are like, wow, what does Mike and Taylor think about this? And I'm going to tune in next week and listen. It's amazing. I really, I just feel really privileged that we've been doing this for so long, Mike, and that people have been listening and they're not sick of us yet.
Yeah.
And that we're not sick of each other.
This is technically, year 8?
I think we're going into year 8.
Yeah. Like the fall would be when we started. So this fall would be 8 years as of this September or whenever that we started. Yeah. 8 years, 2 different show titles. Too many episodes to name. I mean, we were well over 300 with Screening in Kingston. I don't know how many we've done with You Had Me at Skip It.
Nuts.
So probably somewhere in the region of total episodes, like over 400. I just don't know. I don't know how you can check how many episodes you've done.
Well,
I'm sure there's like an easy way.
I feel like on Spotify it lists how many episodes. Like,
and we are on Spotify. Like, you can find us there. So that would be something. You know, I don't spend time doing research of this myself. I let listeners chime in and tell us, or Austin will.
Yeah, that's true. He'll edit for us.
Pop in and said, you've done this many episodes. So I don't know how many we've done of this particular named podcast. I know we have a 5-star rating on a couple platforms, which is nice.
Well, this is a good reminder. Rated. I think we've done this twice in the history of our show. What did they say? Like, rate, and subscribe. The real professional podcasters, Mike, like the real deal, they say that at the end of every episode. Like, do you ever notice that on YouTube? They'll be like, if you like this video, rate and subscribe.
We're not professionals. We've never said that.
I think I said it once as a joke. Maybe that's why we're not professionals, Mike, because we haven't been begging people to review us.
Yeah, that's true.
We do it literally for the love of the game.
I've never even reviewed us, which I should, because they're anonymous. I could just throw up a 5-star review to just add to the pile. I've never even done that.
You should do that to game the system.
I follow us on all our platforms because I want to make sure the episode gets out. Sometimes I listen to it. I have listened to our podcast many times.
I thought you listen every week. I guess
almost
in editing.
Every week. In editing, for sure. Yeah. I mean, sometimes more than once, depending upon how many things you've said, I have to cut around. But yeah, I try to listen to it just as a fan, especially when we're talking about something I'm actually interested in. I always just feel weird. People just seem to judge you for that, which is weird. Like,
listening to your own content?
Yes, but if you were a chef and you made dinner, no one's yelling at you. I mean, like, look at you eating your own food. Like,
and people think it's weird. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. People think it's weird when movie stars don't watch their movies. How's it any different?
I think that is weird.
How's it any different than that? You know, you expect the movie star to watch the movie.
Yeah, because to me, what's good about that is you're watching your own work and you're, in theory, learning from it. You're trying to grow and get better, which could be what we're doing. So, Taylor, I have some information here.
Okay.
I believe that this current episode that we're talking right now is episode 97 of You Had Me at Skip It.
Wow.
So we were over 300 for the other show, which name for some reason I just forgot. but yeah, we're almost at 100.
I thought you were going to say the name that should not be named. The show that should not be named.
No, that was just me forgetting the name. It's
Screening in Kingston.
Screening in Kingston. That's it. So yeah, it's interesting that we're almost at 100 episodes for this. We won't celebrate it. I'll tell you that right now.
It's too much
celebrating. Work. Yeah, it's way too much. We did so many celebratory things. Like, do you remember I think the 300th episode of Screening Kingston, it was almost 3 hours long. And for some reason, we were like, we're going to bring on every guest we've ever had and have them on for like 10-minute chunks. That was
little segment.
Really hard.
I think, but you know what, Mike? I think that's because we knew our time with Screening in Kingston was coming to an end.
Yes, and so I think by that point we had a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we really wanted to commemorate the work we had done under that title. So I think that's why we abused ourselves by doing that 3-hour episode. And I think also people like wrote in a lot with like ideas of how to celebrate. But yes, those episodes are a lot of work. So if you guys want us to do more themed episodes, just write in and tell us what to do so we can turn our brains off and don't have to think about it.
It's one of those things that, like, you started the episode off talking about how you like the fact that we have fans who write in, and it's kind of a privilege to be able to say, hey, we can just like rely on fan questions and it can kind of move an episode. It also has its downsides that you just brought up there, because you just said, hey, fans, tell us to do anything, and you know that someone out there will tell us what to do, and we're not going to like it,
and it will be work. But we love you guys. Also, and we love the engagement. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Another quick follow-up. Last week, you and I had a weird incident where the platform we're on had like an intro and outro music and drums and party mix music and stuff. Turns out, as I learned through editing, only you and I could hear that.
Okay, that's even more bizarre.
It only came through the monitors? It didn't get recorded.
Why have that feature?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's so more of a mystery as to why
people had no idea what we were talking about.
None at all. That episode, people just have no idea why we're laughing or what the problem is, why there's pauses. Yeah, there's just, it only is heard by you and me and nobody else.
Huh. That's a very strange feature, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. I thought like, oh, great, because there's sometimes where I'm like, Mike, drum roll, and then you don't edit in drum roll noises. I'm like, now, oh, this is awesome. We have that functionality in real time. Apparently not.
We don't.
It's not going
Turns
to work.
out we still don't have that technology,
Well, there we
and we're
go.
just going to continue.
Give us another 8 years. One last thing, Mike, speaking of our fans and our love for them and their ability to infuriate us. Did you contact the winners from the Oscar pool?
Yes, so Dan M, who is the winner, has gotten back to me, and has all his email back said, "I have so many ideas." But no commitment of a time. So Dan is mulling that over, and then our last place finisher, I continuously forget to email, so I will do so and set up
or email us
last place.
Email Mike, and then he'll email back. Hopefully,
yeah, they won't, but I will get on that.
There you go. All right, that will be our two upcoming special episodes to look forward to. Who knows what they'll make us do? It's part of the fun.
Yeah, you kind of go into it not really knowing what to expect. I mean, obviously they give us a heads up because we might have to watch a movie or we might have to know a certain topic, but up until that point, we just don't know. Those episodes could be anything. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
What are we doing this week? That's the question.
Did you close the Google Doc? I luckily have mine open. You're doing the rip, which honestly I can't say I know what that is.
Really? Okay. Well, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are back in a movie together.
Okay. I definitely don't know what this is.
Yeah. Netflix original, produced by both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They were both heavily involved. I don't know if they were on the writing team or not. I can quickly look that up, but I know they were producers.
Joe Carnahan wrote the screenplay and also directed. Does that name sound familiar to you, Mike?
No, not at all.
I always find it fascinating.
It's interesting because it for a Netflix movie, I think it had some really good qualities to it. So I'm surprised I don't even know the director, just because nowadays Netflix can get kind of whoever they want, sort of thing. Like especially when you get like 2 stars to be in your movie, like it could have been anybody. So it's I don't recognize that name.
You might recognize some of his movies. The Gray with oh my gosh, the
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
Right.
Boss Level, which I've never heard of.
I've never heard
Smokin' Aces.
Oh,
that
yeah,
cover is very recognizable to me. The A-Team.
Okay, the reboot. Yeah.
Yep. Cop Shop. Narc. Shadow Force came out last year. Death Wish. So I feel like these are all DVDs that when I worked at Chumley's, the covers are so recognizable to me. Because we used to get a lot of the same movies in, and we often had the same movies on the shelf. But I haven't seen any of these. I haven't seen a single one of his movies. So I'm looking forward to your review. This does not sound like a Taylor movie whatsoever.
Probably not. And then and then this week, Taylor, you're reviewing, I believe, Forbidden Fruit, which I can say I know what Forbidden Fruit is, but I don't know what movie this is.
Okay.
I know what it's referencing, but I don't know.
Right. This is probably not a Mike movie. So this is a horror comedy that I believe was not. I rented it, so it must have gone to theaters. I'm pretty sure Nicole saw this in theaters in LA a couple months ago. But it's a Shudder. It's being distributed by Shudder, so you'll probably be able to get it. If you have Shudder as a streaming service, you should be able to watch it on there. I rented it from Amazon.
Right.
So this movie came out March. So it's fairly new. Yours came out in January, it looks like. We're kind of catching up. catching up post Oscars. These movies that came out in the
Yeah.
dead time.
Yeah. A lot of movies that come out in this time period, this is when we start catching up to them before the summer movie season really takes off. But next week we're reviewing the Sheep Detective. We're both seeing that, or that's kind of I would say that's really the first kind of summery movie
And
that's kicking off the summer season.
I think Sheep Detectives and Project Hail Mary, those are the two most hyped movies I've heard about. Hyped in the sense that people are really liking it. Like the review, I would say Sheep Detectives promotion wise kind of flew under the radar, but review wise it's getting pretty positive feedback. So anyways, that's for next week. I'm looking forward to chatting about it, and a couple funny things have come out in the course of their promotion that I'm looking forward to chatting about. But in the meantime, we're gonna review two movies that both of us would hate if the other person made us watch this. I don't know. Sometimes you've surprised me, Mike, but this one I feel fairly confident you would not enjoy. So, would you like to go first, or?
Yeah. Well, why don't you dive in and start by saying why I wouldn't like it,
Okay.
and you go into Forbidden Fruit first.
Okay. So, you know how you like people acting rationally?
Yeah.
This movie is not that type of movie. Okay, so the premise, which is very interestingly, it's based off a 2019 stage play, which I didn't know, called Of the Woman Came the Beginning of Sin, and Through Her We All Die, which is, I assume, a reference to Eve, the Adam and Eve creation story, hence Forbidden Fruits. But I could be wrong. So it was written by Meredith Allaway and Lily Houghton. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And Lily was the one who wrote the screenplay. And then she's the first. So Meredith is the first time director. This movie, as I was watching it, felt very much like Lisa Frankenstein, which was written by Diablo Cody, and Diablo Cody produced this. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. They're like in a way they're relatives, even though Diablo Cody wasn't responsible for writing or directing. I'm like, yeah, this feels like Diablo Cody project. That checks out. So the premise of this movie is going to be hard to explain, Mike, because my major gripe with this movie was that I thought it was well acted, well directed. I even thought like the dialogue was quite good. The story itself did not work for me. Like, I don't know how to do. Isn't that like a weird problem to have? Normally, we would say like, oh, the story was really good, but the dialogue was weird or like stilted, or it didn't, or the story was really good, but the performances weren't great. In this case, the dialogue was good. The overarching, like, beat by beat, you know what I mean? Like, point to get to point A to point B. Like, there wasn't a lot. So bear with me as I try to explain this movie. Okay, so I'll rely on Wikipedia for this. So it's set in a mall, and it's very much like mall culture. So again, like, I don't know if you can really relate to this movie, Mike. I don't even know if the town you grew up in had a mall.
No, but Kingston did.
Yeah. So when you wanted to be a mall rat, you just go to Kingston. So these girls who maybe are late teens, early 20s. I think actually one of them might be 21. So these three girls, Apple, Fig, and Cherry, work at a store called Free Eden, which is like an upscale boutique in a shopping mall in Texas. And they're like revered in the mall. Like, they're the cool girls in the mall. And then Pumpkin comes along, and she works at the pretzel store, but wants to sort of like make inroads into this group, right? And we quickly learn that they're a cult, essentially led by Lily Reinhardt's character, Apple, who people will recognize from Riverdale. And interestingly, a side note, I saw a headline recently that really Lily Reinhart has committed to essentially only making or supporting indie movies so that indie directors and first-time directors and writers will get a chance to get their movies made. So I believe she has started up a production company. I don't know if it's the production company that produced this movie, but I did see a headline saying that that's she really wants to support indie productions essentially, which I think good for her. Throwing her, you know, her resources behind something she believes in. But anyways, Lily Reinhart is kind of the leader of this cult, and they may or may not be witches. I mean, like, they are witches, but it's not really answered if they're like real witches in the sense that, you know, practical magic or what's the not is it called Coven? The one that came out in the 90s. I can't believe I'm blanking.
Coven.
Coven.
I think, or The Coven.
The Coven. So like in those movies, it's like very like magic is real. They are real witches. It's not really explicitly answered in this movie if the magic is like real. If does that make sense? Like it's just more so like a cult.
It's right. It's not clear if it's like cult
supernatural
or there's actual supernatural elements.
Yes. Yes. And Lily Reinhart's character Apple has complete control over all these women in this cult in this store, and she's just like controlling every aspect of their life. And then Pumpkin infiltrates the group, and you only find this out at the very end, but like it's evident that she's trying to infiltrate the group for a reason, but it doesn't, you don't know that until like the climax of she has these like covert phone calls and yada yada yada, but like you don't know until the very end of the climax of the movie like what that was all about. So the movie is really about the dynamic of these four women, and it's really about, you know, how women relate to one another in a friend group and how that can become toxic. And
how old are they? Like how old is this group of people?
Like early 20s, late teens, early 20s.
Okay. Oh, so still
they're out of high school. They're out of high school.
Out of high school, university, college age kind of
thing. One of them is applying to grad school. So she would have been like, what, 21, maybe 22. So this movie is a horror comedy. So there are horror elements, and the climax of the movie is quite grotesque. Like there's a lot of like, there's some gore. I don't want to say like a lot of gore. This isn't like a Sam Raimi movie, but like there is gore. And it is very high camp. So like it's gonna be a little zany. It's like hyper stylized. The characters are not acting rationally. The characters are sort of caricatures, I guess you could say. This is one of those movies where it was set up to be a Taylor movie. Like it had almost everything working for it. But again, the story itself just felt a little lackluster or almost underdeveloped, which is fascinating because it's based on a stage play. So you think that which in a stage play, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, well, maybe not. I don't watch a lot of stage plays, but I would think that with a stage production, the plot has to be very well developed, but maybe it's actually more important to have interesting characters and interesting dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It does kind of depend on the play, but yes, I would say the characters and the dialogue are more the focal point in a stage play. Like you can walk out of a stage play with the plot being either weak or kind of uncertain, but like what you're really getting is like they call them character pieces when the plot is kind of underdeveloped. So yeah, I would say it's definitely common in stage plays, but there are plenty of plays that are hugely plot driven too. So yeah, it's kind of like with film, it's a mix, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. And it was zany, it was goofy. I had a good time watching this movie, but I just felt like similar to Lisa Frankenstein, although I liked Lisa Frankenstein much more, and I think Lisa Frankenstein's going to hold up better than this movie. I felt like in the hands of maybe a different director or a different screenwriter, this movie could have really thrived. I also could see if I had watched this movie when I was 15 with Nicole, for instance, we would have loved it. You know what I mean? And it probably would have been like a cult classic to us immediately. But as an adult, I guess I just want a little bit more story driven. Like I'm
Yeah.
less aesthetically driven. So this is a tough one for me to give a ranking to because there was a lot of things that were working and then just the plot itself just did not yeah, it just like did not work for me. Like the overarching
Yeah.
story. So this to me is a very light stream it or like a very hard airplane it. Like it's one of those movies that's kind of like on the cusp.
Yeah. It's hard when you start with not liking the story. Like that's a real that sets things back. Like if the plot doesn't really work for you, if the story is not that interesting to you, it doesn't really matter if the characters are compelling or not. It's kind of it's almost the hardest thing to start in the negative because like you've brought up, you can really love a story, be like, well, this was just poor executed because the acting wasn't great and it wasn't character development, but I love the story. It's kind of hard to go the other way. Like I feel like that's really important to lay that story foundation for you,
That's
for like the watcher, I should say, for the
yeah,
person.
I will say that it has a really good concept. You know, these are like that's like Lisa Frankenstein. These movies are like high concept. Um and I in terms of like execution, like I just think like it wasn't fleshed out in the way that I would have liked it plot wise. Like it was almost like, oh, the story is secondary to everything else. But I really like a good story. And like I don't know, like it just seemed like a missed opportunities. Like they kind of like threw things out at the climax of the movie where you're like, okay, why couldn't you like I don't know, maybe like because it's like it like intentionally was supposed to be like a B movie, maybe I don't know. So that's why it's a little bit tough. Um, I think if you like high camp, if you like horror comedy, then this movie's it's worth checking out in terms of streaming it. But if those aren't high on your lists, you can probably skip this one. The
Mm.
other quick thing I want to mention is that Victoria Pedretti, and I apologize if I'm butchering her name. She's in this movie. People will know her from The Haunting of Hill House and the Netflix series You. Um, I've kind of been like hit or miss in terms of her acting. I thought she stole a lot of her scenes. And she was a lot of fun. She was sort of the airhead of the group. And Lily Reinhardt did a fine job. I think she's probably a better actress than Riverdale gave her credit for. I mean, with a CW teen drama, you can only do so much. I thought she did quite well in this movie. And then
Which one is that? Like which show is that?
like the Betty and Veronica and
Oh, Archie.
Archie. Yeah, the dark
Right. Okay.
Archie, I guess you could say.
Oh
It was
yeah.
it was aired around the same time as Sabrina, the chilling adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Which you said was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I liked Sabrina. I liked the first season of Riverdale and then the show just like completely goes off the rails. And I think it's one of those shows that people either love it or hate it because it gets like very weird. And there's like a
Yeah, that's kind of
season
like Glee. Halfway through Glee's first
yeah.
season, it gets super strange.
Yeah. There's like a whole season I think of Riverdale and correct me if I'm wrong listeners um where they like travel back in time or there's like
Nice.
another yeah like
That's
it's like
great.
1950s Archie like in the comics and I'm pretty sure that's like the whole season.
That's great.
Yeah, so it just like they made some it sounds like they made some choices. Uh, and you know on a like a CW show like it's not like they're going to be giving you like Oscar material, so it was nice to see that she was able to do some acting in this movie. I am not familiar with Lola Tung, who plays the main character. She was in The Summer I Turned Pretty, and then uh, Alexandra Shipp played Fig.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, are you familiar with her?
I am. She was in some of the recent X-Men movies, but
Okay.
she was also in Tick Tick
Tick
Boom
Tick
and a
Boom.
couple other
Okay.
things. Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. Yeah, so like it's I would describe this as sort of that I think this movie skews maybe a little bit younger demographically. Like this probably is a movie um for early 20s who like grew up with The Summer I Turned Pretty and stuff. Like that kind of age demographic, Mike, if that makes sense. So again, that might be another reason why where this movie just like didn't quite work for me. But the girls did great, and I like I said, it will be interesting to see what this director ends up doing. I would like Diablo Cody to get back into directing. Did she only direct um oh my gosh, Juno? Or did she write Juno? Does she not direct? Does she
No,
only write?
wrote Juno.
Right.
I don't know
So
about directing, but definitely wrote Juno.
okay, she wrote,
But
produced, and
she's the one who did like Jennifer's Body, Tully, something else. Didn't she have like a string of movies there for a while?
yeah, so Tully's one of them. But did she not?
No,
Okay,
so I
she
just looked
only
up. She did
writes.
not.
She only
Jason,
writes.
yeah, Jason Reitman was the director. She
Okay.
wrote Juno. She wrote Jennifer's Body. She wrote Tully, Young Adult,
And then Lisa Frankenstein. She should get back into
Lisa
writing.
Frankenstein. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, who am I to tell Diablo Cody what to do? She can do whatever she wants, but I like her. She's got a certain flair. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, like I said, this is a light stream it or a pretty hard airplane it.
So for my movie this week, I'm reviewing The Rip. As I mentioned, it's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon back together again. So basically, the premise, Taylor, because you know nothing about this, is they play police officers, but they are specifically in this particular case and in a lot of situations, they're the police officers that often get sent to homes to investigate drug dealers or people involved in crime in some situation, but has to do with like large amounts of money. So they are the police officers who will often stick behind and count the money that's been confiscated
And so they're
and have to then
crooked.
get it. Well, that's sort of the premise of the movie is, are they crooked or are they not crooked? That's sort of
Okay.
what the movie sets you up to sit here is, as you could probably imagine, the movie is this group of police officers led by Matt Damon. Ben Affleck's on the team. Stephen Yen from Walking Dead, and he's done a bunch of other movies, is also on this team. They go to a particular situation where they think, there's going to be like a couple $1,000 here, and it's several $1,000,000. Like it's a huge stash of money. So they go through the process of we're supposed to count them on site and call in backup and do this and do that. But very soon do they find they're in a bit of a situation. There might be other crooked police officers looking to get at this money who are not part of this crew. Someone within their team might be a backstabber. Someone else might be trying to see if anyone on the team is crooked. Like there's all these kind of things that do make the movie interesting. Like that's how they keep your intrigue is who is good in this situation.
Right.
That's essentially the premise they set up. And this movie, unlike what I think it maybe seems like on the outside, it's actually not a sort of shoot 'em up action movie. It's very much one-on-one character moments, one-on-one discussions, basically rising tension. And there's
They're
actually
just in
only
this house.
they're basically
Like
just in this house
right.
almost the
Okay.
entire time. They're basically stuck here because Matt Damon, who is kind of the leader, you don't know if he's crooked the whole time. You don't know what his plan is, but what he's telling his team is that because of this amount of money, they've got to be careful. He hasn't called in backup yet. You can tell that there's mob in this particular neighborhood that they're cautious about. So there's a lot going on, and it makes them essentially trapped in this house. And there's only 2 action sequences in the whole movie. One kind of in the middle, and then one at the end, like the kind of big final action sequence. So that was what I would say pleasantly surprised me, because the movie ended up being much more focused on these kind of building tension, intense
Almost like a
moments, and who do you
thriller,
trust? Almost
like
like
a
a thriller.
drama
Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah. And I think this is why I think Matt Damon, I know Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were both producers on this movie, because there's this really funny clip that was circulating on social media of Matt Damon talking about what it was like to work with Netflix, and how one of the directives he was given was every 10 minutes in your movie, you should remind people of the plot, because people are on their phones. So yeah, like he, they're clearly producers. They're clearly heavily involved in it, and I think they're talented. I think Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are talented writers. I think they're talented actors. They showcase it in a very strong way in this movie. They're very much chewing the scenery as it is, doing kind of really interesting work with kind of a substandard to okay premise and script. It's nothing you wouldn't have seen in the 90s, right? Like, it's just minus the action. Like, it reminds me of movies like Speed, right? Where Speed had maybe 5 action sequences and this had 2, but you still have a lot of those moments with Keanu Reeves on the bus and talking to people and like little moments. You have this similar thing in this house with this kind of restricted group of people. So the movie did a couple things really well. One, it kept my attention. I, for not one moment, was bored. I thought it was interesting. The only part of the movie was kind of near the beginning where I'm like, I know you're just going to get somewhere, so please just get somewhere. But even then, I think that was 10 minutes. Like, I think I'm just, in the new age of quickly, let's flip through this here.
I want instant gratification.
That's right. That's right. And they did. They got there. And I think if you like police dramas, you're going to love this movie. Like, if you like, I mean, movies like Taken, which is a movie that has like a really like weird premise, some kind of weird corny moments, but you're just like, I can watch Liam Neeson do this for 6 to 8 more movies. You're gonna love The Rip. Like, I do think there's a lot for people to like. This seems like one of those classic Saturday or Sunday afternoon movies where there's just nothing else on the go. The weather's terrible, and you're just gonna watch a movie in the afternoon. And this reminds me of that kind of movie. Not as good as like The Town or The Departed or other movies that both these guys have been in that are like really interesting and really involved. It's not as good as that. It's clearly the Netflix version of it. But again, for what you get with Netflix, I would say it's one of the more positive ones.
Like, it's watchable. It sounds like you're describing a watchable movie.
It's a watchable afternoon matinee kind of movie. I would never run out to see this in the theaters. Right. Like, I will say that. It just doesn't go far enough.
It sounds like in the old days when you're like browsing the aisles of Blockbuster and you're like, oh, I like Ben Affleck. I'll take this one home.
Yeah, I'll give this a shot. Yeah. And you would watch it and go, I never have to see this again, but I'm spent $5 and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how, and with Netflix, this is kind of with your free subscription. Well, not your free, but free with your subscription. So I think it's one of those things that you'd watch and say, well, that wasn't a waste of time. Like, it was entertaining. It had some intrigue. There were a couple moments that were interesting. I felt it was a little predictable. I felt it was a little too by the book and on the nose in spots. But with that being said, there were still some moments that were like, oh, okay, this is the decision they're going with. I don't know which of these 4 directions they're going in, but they're going in this direction. Like, I think they did a good job with that. And I do think this is a movie similar to what you were saying. It's like the acting is great. Very well done across the board. The story is interesting and intriguing. I just think, this script could have used a couple more rounds of punching up and working on, and I don't think the direction was overly interesting. But I thought, now that you read off all of his credentials, I'm like, yeah, with Smokin' Aces and The Grey and these kinds of movies, I think it kind of fits in that vein. But I wouldn't go as far as to say it's just a popcorn movie. I think there's a little more to it than that. That's why I wouldn't say it's an airplane it. I think it's a stream it. I think it's a good afternoon stream. It's not just a popcorn movie. It's not just something you're going to throw on and kind of fade out. You will pay attention because it keeps your interest and it focuses on it. And it does give us two compelling characters that are interesting and a compelling and interesting team. You learn a little less about the team. It really just focus on these two, but in a positive, good way. Like, I think they do a good job with that. So yeah, to me, The Rip is a stream it. I think it is worth something to watch if you're just looking to throw something on. It's not going to change the world, but from these two guys who started their career with, I think, an amazing movie is Good Will Hunting. They've both done really excellent things along their careers, and this fits in, in a well way. It's not a disappointment in a huge way. I don't think at all. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give it a stream it.
I know this is a very unpopular opinion. I don't like Ben Affleck's acting. I think he's a better director and writer. But you think he's quite good in this movie?
I think he is. I don't disagree. Like, I would say Matt Damon's the better actor between the two. I think Ben Affleck has given some decent performances. Like, I do think you can get a decent performance out of him. This is one of them. I think he was a pretty solid Bruce Wayne in Batman. Those movies were terrible, but he was relatively solid.
Did he direct them
himself? He did not direct them. No,
I
he
wonder
was actually
if it's
supposed to direct a solo Batman movie, but he never ended up doing it because he hated the quality of the movies he was doing. So
I wonder if it's a case of he's wearing too many hats and he can't direct himself.
Yeah, and that I think does happen a lot. I did not see. I will admit I didn't see Argo, which is a movie people talk about a lot. Now, I did really like The Town. I thought he was superb in The Town, and he did direct that. And I thought he gave a good performance in The Town. That's more of a Jeremy Renner movie, though, in terms of who's given the best performance. But he's still pretty good in it. I think Ben Affleck is a good second or third character in your movie. Like, right. To me, where he fails, I don't think you can have him just be the lead of the movie.
Yeah.
He's either in an ensemble or he's the second or third person. And that's where I think he fits best.
I might save this for, because I'm assuming you're going to review The Odyssey. The Odyssey is getting it's making a lot of headlines right now.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, we'll save the discussion then.
We'll save the discussion because I do want to see it before I comment on anything.
Right.
But I've definitely seen a lot as well.
A lot of discourse.
I'm very fascinated to.
Speaking of Matt Damon, that's the connection.
Yeah, he's starring in that, and again, I think Matt Damon's more of a lead. I think he does a pretty solid job in that movie. Now, I think Matt Damon plays essentially the main character of the Odyssey, but from what I remember, it is still relatively ensemble. Like, you've got
the cast seems huge. The cast seems huge.
Yeah, Zendaya I know is in it, and Tom Holland,
Robert Pattinson, Charlie.
Is he?
Charlie Theron too. Yep.
I didn't know Robert Pattinson's in it. Okay.
Yep.
Well, see, there
he's
you go.
Part of the discourse, Mike. There's a clip of him delivering a certain line, and people are losing their minds in not a good way. They're like, if this is going to be the quality of the script, it's Christopher Nolan, right? Who's directing?
Yeah, it's Christopher Nolan directed, but I don't know if
he wrote the script. But people are like, we hate who he's casted. We hate the dialogue. We hate the accents people are doing. But anyways, we won't get into it. But like the movie has been online is quite riled up about this movie. I have been on record. I'm not a Christopher Nolan fan per se. He just doesn't make movies that I'm particularly interested in, and I'm not really a what do they call them? Sand and sandals, or sandals and
sand and sandal. Sandals and swords. That's what it is. Yeah,
that it's not like really my genre of movie to begin with. So I'm like, oh, Christopher Nolan and The Odyssey. This one I might pass on anyways. But we'll get into it because it's coming out in July.
It's coming out in July. Yeah, I know there's been others, but to me, the last big sand and sandals movie was Troy, which is funny because The Odyssey takes place after the events of Troy.
It's being compared online. Some people are like comparing it.
Comparison.
And people are like, but it's so funny. I didn't watch Troy either. And I don't know how Okay,
I will say it was good. I thought Troy was good, and I've revisited, like, because it came out in like the mid 2000s. I'm in like high school. It's made for me, right? Like, but I've revisited it since. And aside from the fact that for some reason, what's that singer's name? There's a singer who Josh something who does the song. Josh Groban, yeah. Aside from the fact that Josh Groban has a big song in it, the rest of the movie is quite good. Specifically, I think you talk about good acting. Brad Pitt gives a fantastic performance in that movie, and so does Eric Bana. Like they are phenomenal in that.
Wow,
movie.
Talk about a stacked cast: Sean Bean, Brian Cox,
Orlando Bloom,
Rose Byrne, Diane Kruger.
Oh
yeah. So that's
Peter O'Toole. Wasn't like before, this is obviously when he was still alive, but Peter O'Toole was in it as well. Yeah, Rose Byrne was in it. Yeah. Oh, that for 2004, I think, or 2003, that movie had a stacked cast. Like it was huge. It was a massive budget movie, a massive summer release, and it did very well. And I do think it was very good. So yeah, I do think The Odyssey has big shoes that they're stepping into, because it is going to be compared, because the story essentially takes off right after its last big one. That was Wolfgang Petersen who directed that, who's like a huge, like epic storyteller. So yeah, I think it's an understandable comparison, and I don't have a problem with it personally.
I guess you'll have to let us know how it shakes out. Well,
I'll see it. I'll see it opening
with your popcorn and your pop. Is there anything else that we need to cover today? I think that's it.
No, I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you everybody again for listening. I can't wait to talk about The Sheep Detective. And then of course my review of The Odyssey will come out soon. So thanks everybody again for listening.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.